In history, we're in Granville, New York with Steve Perkins, Executive Director of the Vermont Historical Society. Now, Steve, Granville, New York is an unusual place to be for us in this series, so what brings us here?
Oh, sure, Mike. So we've been exploring the slate industry, and of course, Slate doesn't care what state it's in, and it straddles the Vermont-New York border. And what we're really exploring today is the immigrant community and the immigrants that really drove this slate industry, and what better place to do it than at the Slate Valley Museum.
About 180 years ago, when slate was discovered in the valley and people said, we want to get it out of the ground, there was nobody here to do it. And as it happened at the same time, in Wales, we're dealing with labor strikes. Wales has a lot of even older historic quarries there. So they just actively recruited Welsh slate workers to come over here. And they were the ones who started the industry here in the valley. They came over as skilled laborers, you know, the ones who knew how to take slate, work it into usable product. But there's a lot of grunt work in slate, so you ended up with a little sort of a labor hierarchy where you have the skilled labor and the managers, and then you need somebody, you know, filling the shovels and the wheelbarrows and going down in the pits. And we're dealing with things like the potato famine at the same time. So you had the group of Irish came over. A generation goes by, those Welsh slate workers are now upper management. They don't want their kids to necessarily be working in the dangerous quarries. So we run into a later labor shortage again. About the same time nationally, we have another influx of immigrants come in. Those are Italians, Eastern Europeans. They're coming in and they're filling those more unskilled, so to speak, labor spots. And we're now home to a very diverse population of immigrants here.
Industrial barons would create essentially company towns or factory towns to provide services to their workers, but also help keep them subservient in various ways. Did we see any of that in the slate industry at all, or did it not end up working that way?
Actually, it's a great question, and one of the best examples is in West Castleton. There's a historic mill that you can go there. They have a trail that you can get right at the park and kind of walk in and explore and see things. And when you're doing that, you'll see, you know, houses that were the company houses. They had a company store, they had company script, they were a company town. And it was very much that example where, like, it sounds good, right? But really what ends up happening is the company owns all aspects of your life and you're continuously indebted to them.
What can you see about this immigrant story here at the museum?
So we have an exhibition that explores aspects of each immigrant group, and we actually have examples of people who represent each group historically, and up to the early 2000s is really where it stops. We talk a lot about culture as well as the slate experience. So like with the example of the Welsh, there's a lot about literature and reading and storytelling and music and things like that. We're really trying to understand what these people brought with them and what they valued. You know, stories of Italian immigrants or the descendants of Italian immigrants playing opera in their quarries while they worked.
So if people want to learn more about the immigrant communities that made up the slate belt here in Vermont and New York, how can they learn more?
They can certainly always contact us. They can come to the museum. We also have a lot of information on our website. We have these exhibitions are basically up there.
Immigrants carve out their own pieces of the Slate Valley at this place in history.